How are you?
Good. Did you guys see where Dan's mom passed away?
No.
See what?
Or Mrs. Brent passed away?
Yeah. Yeah, Chrissy asked me if we were doing anything, and I said, yeah, we need some flowers.
I didn't realize he had a sister.
I didn't either.
Thought he was the only child.
Yeah, I think I knew he had a
It's
sister.
a sister, no?
His brother-in-law. So I think his brother-in-law was Maryland County for a while.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Todd?
Morning.
Everybody doing?
Great.
Great.
We get the fever still?
Oh, yeah. First time in 60 years, and everybody fired.
Just some tannerite.
What? Just a tan right
Yeah,
there?
the boys did buy, they just bought tannerite. Hi, Dick.
I read your newspaper article on that trial, that's quite a deal.
Yeah.
It's quite the article.
Yeah, that's only part of it.
No, it's in the, what was it,
Johnson County Post.
Post.
Yeah. The judge is getting kind of tired of the AG's office in some of those moments, so we'll see.
I forwarded it on to Chad because when those, that stuff was all starting, they were building those warehouses and stuff. He started with mid states down there.
Really?
He was down there, yeah, for quite a bit. So he was interested in it because he knew there was lots going on.
It's slowing down a lot.
Yeah.
Those things haven't developed at all, and I don't know if they're just waiting for me to win all the lawsuits, or maybe I should be looking for a check from them sometime. I don't know. Or at least a fruit basket coming out now.
You'd think, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I don't know what Edgerton's getting from it. It's nice.
I don't know. Just adjust this. Did you search it or?
I searched, I put in there, in what city is that?
Edgerton.
Edgerton, yeah.
It is called the Johnson County Post.
Right, but then I put in Edgerton and maybe trial or something, I forget what I put in, but yeah, it's a good article. It's a long article.
Thank you.
That's reading.
Yes, anything ahead of me? We
Not
went
that I
pick-
know of.
we went and picked up our new truck, so I got to get her.
Sounds good. Thank you,
So
Mr.
he wants us home.
Yes, okay. It's just gonna be Brent, but you'll be in by yourself. And I did add Pat Richter to the agenda this morning.
Okay.
I know.
Pretty blue. I like that color on you. Or lavender, I don't know, what do you call it?
Well, I thought it was purple, but.
It's kind of a.
I think with the lights, it was purple.
Oh, it's pretty.
Right at 9 o'clock, call meeting order to pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Scott, you want to jump right in?
We will. We got our new truck back, or again, from Dodge down there for recycling, so we got that picked up this morning. Everything was good. So, dust control, got that lab results back. SDS sheet says percentage-wise, it's 28 to 30%. What we sent in for testing was 20 to 24%. So it is in the range where the clinic needs to be. So, not sure where to turn next.
From the roads that I've driven that are dust controlled, it seems like it's better now after we got the rain, so I wonder if we just didn't put down enough water.
Yeah, the roads I ran, which was Spring Road, S Road, 254, 246, it seems to me like it's working. There's not as much dust as when you're not on it.
And we verified that the amount put on was the correct gallons.
Yes.
So like I said, I wonder if we just didn't put enough water down to activate it or what?
Well, I remember back when Eric Fritz was here, we would water, I mean, it's just like water was standing in the road. I mean, this go around here, it's not like that. That's, but then after we had these rains and stuff.
I would check with, because that helps with absorption when the water takes it into the, I would just double check with Scottwood Industries to make sure how wet they recommend it. They're the experts.
Okay.
And did you share the findings with them?
Yes, talked to him last week. I talked to him a little bit too. He's on vacation, but he said he would be willing to come in Like next Monday, do you guys want to visit with him, or if it's necessary or not?
I don't know.
I don't feel it's necessary. Communication through you would be just fine right now. Like I say, the roads, I know the roads that I have traveled since we put it down, since we had the trouble initially, and since all the rains, it seems to be 100% better.
It is, but it's still not like it, these human, it's not adhering. I mean, typically by now, roads that have dust control on it, there's no flaking, and there's still a lot of flaking off, especially as humid as it's been. It should be pulling that moisture. You should be able to see a visual in
Should
the
be a
morning
lot
when it's
darker.
humid.
A lot darker than the roads that were not treated, yeah, I don't see that, but I don't know, that's what I think you need to visit with Scott a little bit and talk to them and see, what they're gonna recommend, because if they say we need to put more water down, we'll put water.
Chip and seal, again, they're supposed to start on the 9th. They've been hauling rock in down the White Strip. I've got a room initially set up to rent for the 21st, the week of the 21st. Got them room that after they do the chip and seal. So that's done in the past. Deer run over here, Giant Communication, we have seen them out there, but they have not done anything yet, so, we get to the point where somebody's, they're gonna do something soon. All the trees, all that's coming along good.
Is all theirs buried?
Huh?
Is all of theirs buried?
Yeah. It's maybe the box up at the end, that turnaround, they need to move it out of our right of way, or, move it off to the side.
I would issue them an ultimatum, either it gets moved, or we'll move it for them.
Okay.
One or the other. We've given them plenty of notice, I think,
Yes.
to get up here and get it done.
Yeah.
So,
I'll stop by there any day.
it's in the right of way, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
We got one of our skid steers buckets about where we're out on it. We got to look to get a replacement bucket for it. It's just, where we're scootering along.
Smooth bucket or tube bucket?
Two bucket. It's to the point where we're requiring it to the teeth and all that, so.
We're gonna have to look at the budget, see if we got the money for it, and see, I don't know what we do, so we'll take a look at that.
All right, and then, again, it doesn't have to be capital or anything like that.
You might check with, just because I know Kurt has purchased some equipment from some aftermarket places. I think one of the places that he was really impressed with the thickness of metal, the manufacturing, and what he got for the money. And I think they sell all kinds of attachments, so you might check with them.
Okay. Let's see, last Thursday, there was a water leak down here on 158, west of B Road. Matt had to go down there and put some signage up for that. They've got the water, they didn't get it stopped, but they're made a hole in the road in soft spots. They're down there today trying to get
So it's a line crossing the road.
Yeah. Ditch cleaning, well, ditch and cleaning on the tubes. They did that on 238 S Road last week and X Road south of 206. Again, most everything's been out here deer running. We've got a couple spots we did haul some rock to.
Did the guy down there get a hold of you about they cleaned the ditch in front of his house?
Well, there was a guy that left a message up there with the girls, and he's quite rude about it. And so they passed it to me. I went down and where he described the directions I was given, there's no crops in that area.
This was in front of his house.
The road to the east of where he says had greater work done on it. But again, we've got 50-foot right of way through there. So,
Right.
like I said, I looked at that late last week, so I called him.
He said something about couldn't mow it, and I told him when I talked to him, I said, you may not be able to. I mean, we've got to clean the ditch so that
Right.
But
And what I saw is the grader operator went through there It went over about 18 inches and skinned the grass.
Sure.
He didn't cut down deep. The guy's complaining that we keep coming more his way, and the farmer's planting out the field. When I saw the farmer planted, he was still back past our right of way. He wasn't out.
Was this on 166?
166 between X and Y. This guy was saying between Y and W6. That's what he reported. Between Y and W6, there's nothing but pasture ground.
Coleman, Eichmann.
Something for
Coleman Eichmann.
that.
He said.
Oh, yeah. I did go down and visit him.
Okay.
Yep. And our guys, I've got some pictures here if you need to see them, but our guys went in and scooped out with the mini and got down toward the end there, and for some reason they went out, directed it back out into the road instead of going on down straight with it, another 15, 20 feet. So they were supposed to get out there last week and get that fixed up. So, and plus, how they had scooped it kind of made it steep on the banks there, so we're gonna face that off too. He said, he says, I'll take the dirt. He says, you can leave the dirt. I said, well, most people that mow their yards and out front, they do not want the dirt like there. That's why we want it off. So,
He's a pretty easy guy to get along with.
Yeah.
And I think, again, if our operators just will take a minute and think, okay, how would I want it left to be in my house?
right.
You know, it doesn't take much more. It's just like the one down on Q Road. I mean, a few more feet, a little more effort to shade the bank at a less steep angle, would have made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I did go visit with him.
So he's good.
I need you back down and make sure our guys got done what was asked.
Appreciate that.
Question with Bryson this morning on this uniform thing. Apparently, just to bring it up to date here, UniFirst has passed the billing portion of it off to their Missouri branch. And so my opinion is they're gonna try to come back, so we didn't pay this bill and this. We do have off documentation where they overcharged us and was charging us for double, and so we have all that. So I figured they'd probably pass it off, so they come back and say, well, you guys don't pay nothing. Well, you guys credited a bunch of stuff to us, so we've got all that information. Talked to Bryson this morning about what it would be like if we didn't have uniforms. He goes, well, he says that was part of the agreement, back when they did their pay, and this was back before me, that they would have uniforms for them that they didn't have to pay for. He says, other than that, I said, what would it take? And he says, $1 an hour raise for every one of us. And I said, well, that's probably not gonna happen.
I need to see that agreement because,
Yeah.
I mean, if it was just a handshake agreement that, well, then that doesn't hold much water anymore, unfortunately. But if we agree to purchase, whether it's 5 sets of clothes per employee for the ones who have the uniforms, that would be to me a much easier way and a much better way to do it.
Or just give them a stipend for.
Well, I talked to him about that too. I said, because we're buying those 22 pairs of pants. So there's pants for 2 guys, right there.
For 2 guys,
Yeah.
22 pair?
Well, the 11 pair each,
For what?
off the old contract.
Off the old contract?
When
Oh, okay, you mean you're talking about through the
uniform.
uniform? Okay, I'm talking about buying 5 pair of clothes, 1 for each day of the week.
Okay.
What he's talking about.
Is the
It's
uniform
different.
contract,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've got
Where they deliver.
11 pairs of pants
Okay,
that we have to buy because they were special ordered and it's on the contract.
We have no choice, but we have to buy this because.
oh, I hadn't heard that. Maybe
Oh,
I was,
yeah.
maybe I was gone at one day, okay.
Yeah, Gary's we never got, so 11 of those, it was 33, but we never received Gary's and they canceled those, so it's 22 pairs, so it'll be 11 for Bryce and 11 for Wes.
And is this the Arc Flash clothing, the Arc Flash
They are.
jeans?
They are. They are. So anyway, we do have those that we will end up with. Talked to them about putting a wash machine out here, the dryer, and
I'm not in favor of that. There are plenty of people who who do these jobs every day, that go home and then wash their own clothes.
I wash my own clothes from Goodyear, in my washing machine.
Okay.
So no, I'm not in favor of that at all.
I don't mind giving, a stipend to purchase the clothes. A lot of companies do that, but
Okay.
Linda, I don't know how you feel
Well,
about
I just think give it a stipend first.
Well, if we purchase these 11 pairs
Yeah,
that we're
that's-
supposed to get, then
two
we're
of
just
them.
giving those to them this year for
Right.
that, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah, because like I said, well, either way, we're getting stuck with,
yeah,
22 pairs, actually.
okay.
Pants.
Well, that's, to me, that's 2 years worth of pants, for God's sakes. That's a lot of pants.
It is, it is.
They change clothes at noon and still have.
Other than that, that's about all I got.
I don't have anything this week.
But do you run down there in that little hollow? Was that gentleman okay with taking out those trees?
Yeah, we talked to him. His wife wasn't real happy, but he says, look, it's for a good cause. The power lines go right through there behind him. And then, all that shade that was, he said from his mailbox up around the curb was always ice, all winter long.
Right.
And so this will take care of that. So he was okay with
Well,
it.
that's good.
No,
I'm not sure all of it's his land right there. anyway.
it's not.
Okay.
It's, like I said, it's in our right of way,
Yeah, but some of that's Sundays.
going down the hill now.
Yeah.
And we've talked to him, when we first talked to him about taking that out, he said he was okay, and he said we went a little far up into the field, but he'd already paid it, it'll grow back. I don't have an issue with going in, throwing some seed in if we need to.
There's just-
Big improvement, I think.
Increase from mid-states. Did you have a copy of that?
Yeah, I've got it. Right.
Okay.
I think they were going up on their road rock to 20, 21, something like that, 21, 21.
From-
I'll have to get it.
Okay.
It seems like the county was like 19
I
something.
thought it was like 1910 or something like that.
Yeah, then you put all those other surcharges and stuff like that in there.
If you could have the girls email that to Christie and then she can get it to us, that'd be great. Where are we at on getting everything caught up with the office? What stage are we at there with all the input that was lost and now?
The stuff from 24 is in,
Okay.
and Mary's working on 25, getting it all done. Jennifer's still working on getting stuff put in for last year, but I should restate this. The time cards and everything are in for 24.
Okay.
We're still doing the fuel and inventory and that stuff for our annual reports that we have to do, and for the fuel tax. So we're still working on that. But as far as on Mary's side, she's doing 2025 stuff right now.
When does she think she'll have that? The reason I'm asking time frame, have you had the conversation with her about
I did.
spending some time up here?
I did, and she's okay with that. She said she's been passed around before. so-
Yeah. Well, I think it just adds value to her job as
Right.
opposed to being
Yep.
passed around. So to me, if she's willing to do that, it adds value to her job and it keeps her employed full time. It's a great way to utilize an employee, especially if she's got some skill set that Kate can work with and she's already familiar with. I think we'd just like to be able to share with Kate when that's gonna happen. 'Cause, yeah, and when, if talk to Jennifer, kind of get an idea of time frame wise, where maybe she can start coming up, maybe even for a half a day, kind of familiarizing yourself with what Kate has going on. And you can either coordinate it or have Jennifer coordinate it, because I'm assuming,
She's on vacation this week.
Okay.
You know,
yeah, and factor all those things in. Sam, Sarah, where are we at on that? And do you have the app up and running so that you can see where all the graders and equipment are?
I have the app where the graders, Bryson has gone into a few of those. He's gonna run around this morning on the rest of them, because apparently the plugs that's in the grader doesn't match up to the plug that's on the,
And what's the fix?
What's the
you're
solution?
gonna have to, I told him to get pictures of every one of them. And I said, we'll send them to him and get it.
So he's just finding this out now, or he was installing them last week,
It
or?
was installed last week.
And realized that they didn't match up.
Right.
And
First one we did matched, I mean, plugged right in. They went to, I believe it was Ethan's machine, and
Same
the
machine?
plug, I believe they were cats, still cat machines,
Still cat.
but different years.
Okay.
But he said the plugs don't match up, so different pins and everything.
So wouldn't his thought, as soon as he found that, instead of waiting till today, be to go, hey, I need to get a hold of him because this isn't working. It seems like we're dragging this out. And you can share with him that I expressed that. But I mean, if I'm installing those and I see something, I'm on the phone right then and there, and I'm trying to figure out what's the solution.
He's got his email.
Yeah, I'd be on the phone.
I wouldn't
I wouldn't
email him, I'd be calling him.
Ew,
Not at all.
ew.
I would be on the
Please
phone
go to these meetings.
because we're gonna be November, and we're still trying to plug them in.
I'd be on the phone until I got a hold of somebody,
All right.
and I'd be jumping up and down, because it's been way too long now.
And so the trucks are up and running,
Yes.
so you can see where they're moving on a daily basis. Okay? And so how many blades do we have left before?
There's 6 of them.
And then my last question is, you're gonna provide that app so that we can have it,
Yes.
if we want it.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's fairly simple, download an app.
It's been a while since Matt went through that with us, so I'll probably get a refresher from him, or just have him,
Matt did it.
Matt Lee, not Matt Fritz.
That's good saying that. Naturally.
He's a little more computer savvy.
Oh, I'm sure he is. He's just quiet. Yeah, he does a good job. So I think that was the other thing. So if we can have that by next week and know where we're at on that. I've talked to several people in the community that are excited that that's going to happen. And that you'll be able to monitor that movement of those pieces of equipment and what's going on. We've got that.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
sounds good, thank you. Couple things here. That's Amanda right there, isn't it? Okay. Amanda Spalding is putting in for vacation from July 21st until August 1st. Do we have any issues with that?
Yeah.
Everybody or just me? Okay. And we have a payroll change for the sheriff's department. This is just filling one of their new open positions, right?
Yes.
Okay.
for you, that when I was asked about the rock update, this will be the second price increase for mid-states in this year. So just, if your readers are interested, just, for information.
I knew we were talking, that they were going to help him. Is there a payroll change for anything? I thought that was on. All right, thanks. Yes.
Hi, Pat.
Mark.
How are you?
I'm
Good. You want to jump up? We're running a little early again. We're efficient. How's that sound?
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I just want to tell you that their AC is finished. We got it done last week.
Oh, cool.
Everything went fine. I don't know how much they put back into it, but I know it was a lot. What we pulled out was like 24 pounds. That whole time, so we're pretty low.
Yeah.
It's pretty much empty.
Yeah. Anyway, my other question is, it's happened twice now in the last couple jury trials we've had, they run late. Are we required, or one of us required to stay here until it's over?
No, I don't see so. I don't see why.
Who's gonna secure the building?
Got sheriff's officer out there?
What, right, is it gonna be his responsibility to lock the doors and stuff? I guess I'd like to
The
talk
doors
through it.
Normally,
before
we
you
just lock the doors.
Huh?
Normally, we lock the doors.
Okay, I just wanna make sure,
I know all the employees, Amy and all them, they've got the fob to get in. I know, like Dennis Immenschuh has,
Which we have the handicap open,
we could do that.
right? We've got
That was the
handicap
instance last week. Jerry stayed because there was a gentleman that was in a walker wheelchair and he got him out. The last two have run till like 7.
oh, wow.
Well, then who's going to be footing the bill for the overtime on that?
I didn't say they had to.
Yeah.
I'm trying to talk through this.
Sure.
To make sure that doors are kept open and that in case something happens, there's staff here for that. Maybe it's a conversation we have with the judge, maybe the court system puts the bill. But if we don't think we need them, great.
That's where I'm going. If there is somebody with a walker, wheelchair, whatever, fine and dandy. If you guys have Stacy close the handicap door, I understand that. But if you do, I don't see that we're going to foot the bill for the 3 hours that, that's a big ask.
It is, but I guess I'm gonna lean on Todd for a question here. We're required by state statute to provide a place for courts to have their file. And if that means providing services, are we required to do that? Again, I think it's just a simple conversation with the judge, or whoever, and maybe Amy, to make sure that we don't say, no, you don't need to be here, and then all of a sudden, there's a reason they need to be here.
What reason? That's what I'm saying. What
Mark, I
reason?
don't know.
They get lock the doors.
Yeah, I don't know what the reasoning would be, I just want to have that conversation.
So maybe that's a conversation we can have Mr. Elder today.
Good, yeah.
If I agree that we need to provide we are required to provide a place for trials, for the court services. why, and here again, I'm ignorant on this, so I'll lean on my legal service. Why cannot they, you know, we close at what time? 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock?
4:30. 4:30.
Yeah,
So why can't they say, okay, 4:30, you know, that's our wrap-up time. We don't care really where you are.
I'm trying to figure out where the difficulty comes from the fact that it's not really so simple to gauge lengths of trial.
Right, I understand that.
And then you get into the question of, and it's always a hard one, which is when do you start and when do you stop? Meaning if you schedule a trial for 3 days, say, and your best efforts are that you can get it done in 2 and free up the court for other things, you may extend it into the evening hours and
Jury deliberation.
yeah, the jury doesn't want to be there any longer than they have to. So I guess it's really hard for me to sit there and say, oh, well, this is outrageous, close at 4 o'clock. But every judge is different in their approach.
And maybe Pat, I mean, you can have a conversation with whoever's up there, whether it's Immenschuh or whoever, and say, hey, look, everything's locked except for these 2 doors, and here's how you secure them once you leave, and maybe he'd be willing to do that. I don't want to just make the statement, yeah, this is what we're going to do, without checking with court services first and making sure that they're comfortable with that. And maybe he secures the building, make sure everybody's out. I mean, because that's one of the things you guys, do is make sure nobody wanders off into a place and stays in here. So,
I'm pretty sure they have to have a bailiff for this jury trial.
yeah. And so
But
if he can escort everybody out, make sure the door's locked, then you guys don't have to.
That's
Like I say, if it comes up to where they say, no, we don't want to do that, and you guys are forced to stay, then there again, who's going to foot the bill?
Yeah, I
That's
think it's
what
just,
we need to make the determination up there, because I
Just a
don't feel that it's our responsibility to foot the bill for another unfunded state mandate. That's just,
I think it's worthy of having a conversation.
let's have a conversation, it's a hard call, but then again, that's no different than saying, okay, we're gonna pay these guys to come in here on a weekend for glory days or whatever, and like that.
Completely different. This is a trial.
I understand it, but
That's,
I do understand it, it's a different scenario, but it's the same thing. Who foots the bill for that? And we've said that whoever the organizers are going to foot the bill for that, right?
a completely different, yes, you are correct.
Okay.
If it's an organization coming in here asking permission to do it versus the court system. There's a lot of things with the court system that we have to foot the bill on that we can't control. How many jury trials they have, how many legal defenders they, all that kind of stuff. So in the big scheme of this, how many times do you think you're really gonna have it? And is it gonna break the county to pay a little bit of overtime? Maybe it's you getting a phone call from the court system say, hey, building, we're leaving, wrapping up now, and one of you can come back and secure the building. Again, it's just a conversation. I just think it'd be worth it. And if you don't mind, I guess, have Pat
Have that talk with,
Or come back when
here's
it's
a point of contention on what you just said there. Having them, give them a call, they go home, they're at home, having them give a call, say, hey, we're done now, you can come back.
Yeah,
So,
pay them an hour overtime.
well, hang on, so theoretically, if they are done, if they're, leave their position at 4:30 or 4, whatever time you leave, right? And they go home, they're still on call. So we should
They're
still.
not on call.
Yes, they are.
It's not any different than when Road and Bridge they have people who get phone calls in the middle of the night because the stop sign's been run over, and somebody has to get in the vehicle and come.
Because they're on the on-call list there, but I'm saying, to me, we can't ask these guys to go home and just sit and wait on the phone call. If they have personal things they need to do, it's either we're gonna pay them or not. It's gonna be the same one way or another. If they're sitting up here or they're sitting at home. I don't see a difference on that myself.
Okay.
So we can have that conversation, but yeah, if you talk to them and see what they say, and just say, you know, are you guys gonna put the bill for the overtime? For us staying here, or are you gonna have your bailiff do it, who is already on the clock?
And I'm sure Dennis would be fine with.
Yeah.
This,
But yeah, let's broach that subject and see what we come up with.
I know that one time, the last one, I came back up at 6 from 5:30, and I said, half an hour, and they were still going. And I just locked the doors, which were already locked.
Yeah.
Got all the lights off in the bathrooms and it was out. No issues the next morning. Now Jerry, he stayed late Wednesday night because there was a guy that needed assistance.
Yep.
So he got him out, and then he got the curb. And Jerry had to come back in because the guy forgot his wallet. So, I mean, there's instances like that.
Of course.
All righty. Yeah, just have a conversation with them, see what they say.
I'll start with Amy and
Yeah.
and maybe Dennis, and then if he's fine, then I'll just leave Judge Merrick out of it.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right.
All right, sounds good, Pat.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, has everybody read through the resolution? What was number two that passes? 16? 20?
Online, you go through the highlights.
Yes, please.
All right. Well, this is supposed to be broad enough that just about any officer can use it in enforcement, so that's why it's not worded this way.
Officer, define officer.
Well, an officer would be an appointed position or official position, meaning they have an administrative function, right? So, Kate's, I believe, is an officer, elected official. But then it would be employees and contractors too, because I think technically your NDKS or whatever. it is.
Martha would be a contractor.
Yeah. So we need to get them there and so on. But, and the reason it's kind of set up the way it is because it's specifically aimed not to be a criminal prosecution or effort. So I'm trying to make that a limitation on getting some pretty broad authority, which would be, you start out with a whereas, it's just establishes why you're doing it. It's not for just be snoop or whatever it is to enforce it, whether it be zoning codes or sewer or sewage reviews or whatever, you do that ability. So first, just kind of establishes that there's either a written complaint that is made to the officer, meaning somebody complains about a nuisance, or they have reasonable suspicion of nuisance by their own examination. And then they would have basically the right to enter at that point. And the second one just clears that they're not to enter the residence or building. And basically, the administrative warrant is what you would get if that was necessary. I mean, we had some idea like the structure is a collapse. But you can't see from outside, you can see a little rack of roof, maybe, they're worried, it's old. Then, just automatically, we're going to have, I think that's one where you go get an administrative warrant to search the property. So,
Or you have a ag building, but you see clean outs going out from the ag building.
yeah, but if you need to look inside, then either we volunteer or you get this administrative.
Okay.
So, but, you know, that should, you know, for exterior stuff like, you know, setbacks and all that, and, you know, trash and garbage or
Mhm.
chemicals or something like that, you can walk up and see it, then you got it. And then 3 is just says that if you ask for a permit, you have to give us access.
Okay.
And 4 is just that separating from criminal, meaning if they see something that's an immediate threat to life or property, they can report their inspection to law enforcement for action. It's really not an exception to the Fourth Amendment, but I tend to think that you gotta have that out and being, you can't just skate past something, you know. You see something illegal going on, you know, it's better that that's gonna threaten life.
Mhm.
You know, I think it's more important that people be safe than we worry about Fourth Amendment stuff. 5 is pretty common sense, refusal to allow inspection shall be considered withdrawal of such application. So, kind of, again, the other side of that, if you ask for permit and nobody look at it, you withdraw your request. 6 is because you need, I thought you needed something still that would say, if you interfere with an officer, that can be a criminal charge. Harassing them or chasing them off the property improperly. So,
Like turning their dog loose on them.
yeah, something like that. And that the 7 is administrative warrant. So basically, that's the process you go to district court. I'm not sure it's done very often, but it's got to be for that administrative purpose. And probably you can use, and what I suggested to use before is like, you guys don't have this problem, but inflow and infiltration of water into the sanitary sewers is a problem in the city. So sometimes you inspect inside to see the drains are draining into that rainwater. So if there's something in there that you have to see, or they refuse and it's clear it's a violation of some kind, then you can go to the judge and get a warrant for the search. And because it's an administrative warrant, there's really lower element of review for the court. It doesn't have to be just reasonable suspicion. It's just the administrative need to count. So as long as it's a legitimate need to look for things that are violations, then you should get it. And the other 8 saving provisions just kind of covers things that this is challenged in some ways. So that's what I got. I don't know if you guys are in a rush, if you wanted to have anybody particularly look at it to see if they met the requirements.
So did you send one to Pete?
I didn't say one to Kate tonight. I can do that.
Pete, might ask her to come down and just take a look at it.
Typically, that's gonna be the only office that,
Yeah.
other than road and bridge.
Northeast Kansas. With Mark being the contractor. I don't know if she's ever been told no to
Yes,
be long.
exactly.
I know their office says.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Just like her to read through it, have a look at it.
Now's the time to add stuff to it.
Yeah.
But another news, I gave a standard response to the open records request of that lawsuit. People, the statewide lawsuit about voter registration, they've been pestering us with. So, got the extension, we just need to figure out, we have something to answer on.
That's a lot of years.
I know,
That's gonna take some time.
And what do they want?
They want how many voted, number of applications, clear for 2016. I don't know if I have that information.
well,
I'm
that's,
going to do everything up, I haven't opened up stuff to see.
well, that's the point, is that this is supposed to be if you have a document
Is it-
that is in existence about that, then we have to produce it. It's not, you know, it's great.
This is just Jackson County. No, it's a
Yeah, I
broad
don't know
range
how they,
lawsuit.
I don't know how many families that go after this one.
It's about everything.
Yeah, but other,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's the signature on absentee ballot thing or whatever. So,
It's basically what the first one was about, but asked in a different format and for more years. I can send them my final spreadsheets. That's available.
well, I think you probably, if you do get to a point where you know what time and cost would be, just tell them that. So you don't have to create anything, you just have to, those spreadsheets are all you got, then that's all you got.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hello.
Surprise. Surprise.
Read through that and see if you can spot anything you think you need or need change. painted County restoration, right?
Yeah.
Well, to me, it's a little broad. Vendor events, storage unit rental, monthly events. Kind of monthly events, I mean, that's, to me,
It's wide open, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, that's fenced in, like I say, there's not much parking.
No, I got it pulled up there, I'm
You'd
looking
be
at it.
parking on the road if it was a very big event.
So I'm saying, I got it pulled up right here, I'm
Yeah.
looking at it, it's just
Yeah,
not,
that's
that's the old back.
uh-huh. I said they had a chain link fence around here.
I'm just, it's a little broad. But they want to use monthly events. What's that?
I was,
Nice one?
What is KSA 21-590? Is that like a?
Yeah, so state, well,
General,
it is a general statute, so what it is basically if you're county, you could then prosecute the county. So it's interference with public officer doing public duty.
and so the administrative warrant, that would need to be done each time, or in
No.
what cases would that need to be done?
In discretion of the officer, if there's interference or if there be an issue, or you need to inspect interior of a property, of a building. That would be, so number one, interior of the building, number two, there's, you know of some reason why they're not cooperating.
Is this mine?
Huh?
Is this mine?
Yeah, sure. What are you gonna do? You gonna edit it?
No, I'm gonna make notes on it.
Oh, okay, notes. All right. Yeah, so only times that'd be necessary is if you need to inspect inside a building. Second of all, there's some kind of problem, meaning they chased you off or they threatened or whatever, or just seems like it's a difficult problem because the warrant kind of cleans the whole thing up. You know, presume that an officer would help you too, sheriff's officer to escort you at that
Standby.
point. Yeah, because it's just a process where you go to the judge and get it. So, I mean, I think that's why I say it's at your discretion. If somebody's just is nice and aligned to look around, or you go on there and there's nobody around the property, that should be necessary at that point. Certainly if they give you a permit application or something, then you're free to go on, or should be. And what we count on is if they ask for permit, that they will let everyone inspect it, or if the permit is denied in the fees. So this is kind of a very, I would consider it to be a very rare event where you need administrative warrant. You don't have building inspectors going around and checking structures for structural settlements, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Just measurements and pictures.
yeah.
Thoughts, you say they need to be changed or added?
I was assuming, probably, maybe this is a question, identification of the officer when you go into the property. You guys have any ID badges or anything like that?
We have our badges that we have on our desks,
Okay.
county badge,
Yeah.
the.
I need something that says, you know, I'm official, I'm not just some guy.
You could always have, Pat Corey issue you a badge that says you're a county employee that's laminated, so that if that,
We all have one of those.
you do have one of those. Okay, that's what,
Yeah.
That's what I
you
was,
were, that's what, I think that's what he was talking about. So
Yeah.
you can show somebody, I'm a county employee.
I mean, I don't have one, I'm not gonna.
Your contract. Your contract.
But yeah, that was what I was, just something to identify the person so that they know when they're crossing the line, you know. So,
We have all that in place.
Thoughts? Okay. Well, I'd entertain a motion to pass resolution 2025-16, a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Jackson County, Kansas, authorizing county officers, employees, and contractors to enter onto private property for the purpose of property inspection.
So,
So moved.
second.
Okay, it's probably moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2025-16 as previously stated. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Can you explain a little bit more about the application for the special event? It seems a little broad.
So he wants to, what did I call it, junk
Oh, jump fest.
fest?
swap meet? Jump fest.
Well, it says vendor unit or vendor events, storage unit rental, monthly events.
Yeah, they're wanting to do that monthly, seasonally. That's what he said. He called it a junk fest.
So I guess I'm a little puzzled on this because the way that it is worded to me, when it just says monthly events, they want to have a band out there or whatever, they can do that. That's what I'm a little concerned about the way it's pretty
I
broad.
don't
on
have
that.
any more information other than he called it a junk fest where he's gonna have vendor tents selling their goods. Kind of like an expanded garage sale.
But when you read the added information, do you say, okay, but it doesn't qualify for this, or it does qualify for this, and it qualifies for all those things?
Yeah, I mean,
Question,
it's
just
just a
question.
special event, so
No,
it's.
that's not what he read is not a special event. If you're gonna create a storage facility out of it, and
Well, he
storage,
has his storage facility.
it's already
there.
in, okay, so why is
Well, I thought
that?
that was a. I thought
Because
that
you
was a-
don't sell the stuff you sell.
Right,
So it's not within their zone, I mean,
so it's already,
There'd be
it's,
one,
it's
so he is
already,
zoned properly for what he is doing
Okay.
there.
Storage units out there.
He is
I didn't
wanting to-
didn't realize that there were already existing, so that makes a difference.
Okay,
When we read it, it says,
It
it
says
lists
vendor
all
events,
these, to me,
storage
he's
unit,
asking
monthly
for
events.
permission to do those things versus he just needs to put on there what he wants to do in addition to what's already there.
Which is the vendor events.
The junk fest,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the way he
Thank you.
said verbally to me.
Now I understand.
like I say, monthly events is just pretty broad. Now, if he wants a jump fest, I would say he needs to change that to jump fest.
So I sent out 1,000-foot letters, and
Uh-huh.
he is to meet with you then on July 21st.
Okay,
And that's, the way I've seen it is that people want those event permits to not be like a special use permit.
Yeah, it's not a special use, it's gonna be a permanent special event, not a special use, it's a special event.
But there's really not much parking and stuff out there.
He's got that portion to the north of that building and around the building, so. I can't imagine that it's gonna be huge, but I don't have those details.
yeah,
Those would be details.
all right.
So you said he's coming here then?
Yeah.
Oh.
I bet there'll be some neighbors here too.
Those got sent out,
First. That's what this one's dated, is first. Okay, perfect. All right.
I think I may need some clarification on the article in the paper about the building permits and what you all are intending. So, are you saying that if people self-report that they're not gonna get double?
I think that's what we had talked about.
Yeah, I think that's what we talked
Back
about
up there.
originally, that we were gonna give them a timeline to come in and self-report it.
Until the first of the year.
That's what I need clarification on, because I didn't hear that when I was down here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we all decided on that. I thought like we were still here. No, I apologize.
Okay, so no double the fees
If
if
they
they
self-report,
self-report by the end of.
yep.
Okay.
Which hopefully that will take off a lot of your headaches and trying to.
23, 24, 25, if they have those 3 years, if they self-report, that helps us get it on the list. There's no fine. But after that, anybody who has not, then you'll go back and you'll identify those, send letters,
And no ag buildings at that point, or with the ag buildings as well.
With the ag building as
Yeah.
well, yes.
yeah, we want those on there, so we can collect taxes
Okay,
on those.
that's
Yeah.
just what I wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else for me?
Not yet. We'll figure out something.
Okay.
Thank you. Brent, how you doing?
Good.
Come on up, buddy. How are you?
Good.
Good to talk to your sidekick. Did he come today?
He was unavailable
Oh, dang
today,
it.
so I figured you guys wanted to get like budgetary
Good
stuff
to see you.
done, so.
Yes.
I
I appreciate it.
Good to see you.
All right. Can we go into executive session, correct?
Yeah, you can, I guess unless he has something that he wanted to present in the open session.
You want me to cover a few updates?
Sure.
It was in the packet, but I can cover a few updates real quick.
Yep.
So, we sent some information in last week. Some things that were included in those was a letter I was gonna go over. And it just kind of outlines the last few years. Ambulance, I think there was a couple of questions on ambulance locations. So we run everything centrally out of the Jackson County EMS station in Holton. Since we've started this most previous contract in January of 2023, we've had 2 ambulances staffed 24/7 at all times, and we've supplemented that with 3rd truck staffing and 4th truck staffing as needed. I've got some numbers for you guys. Granted, the contract only requires the 2nd ambulance to be on staff for like 84 hours a week. But I'll share some numbers with you as far as call load. Before we get to, well, actually, I'll go ahead and call load.
In 2024, there were 1,616 requests for service. That could be anything. And in the packet as well is a big, thick document that's got like all sorts of like what we run, cardiac, stroke patients, all that stuff. We do a lot of, we do a lot of helping the community, lip assist, those type of things as well. The first 6 months of this year, we're on track to be a little bit busier this year. So it's probably, if the last half of this year stays like the first half of this year, we're looking to probably add another a little bit over 100 calls to that. So in 2024, just to give you some perspective, the primary unit, the first unit, ran 1,334 of those. Second unit was requested 259 times, which is pretty considerable. Third truck 20 times, and fourth truck 3 times.
When you say that requested in the same time frame, meaning?
Right,
Okay,
so
thank you.
like that 259 times on second truck, that would mean like first truck
It's
is,
already out
they're already out on all.
in the other, okay.
Yeah. And then, something else that is worth sharing is that, so, I know it's a little confusing, but so, Tex Inc., operates Jackson County EMS, but Tex EMS is our interfacility transfer division, and it's separate from Jackson County. It has nothing to do with Jackson County. And we do transfers all over the state of Kansas. We're probably one of the largest interfacility transfers. We take all the veterans from like the Topeka and Leavenworth VAs. We have contracts with numerous hospitals. Well, the side benefit to that is one of our units, so we have stations for Tex EMS in Lawrence, Emporia, Junction City, Topeka, Holton. So and it's in that packet, there's over 1,000 hours, actually over 1,300 hours this year alone where there's an additional unit staffed in Holton that's taking care of business on the Tex EMS side of things, nothing to do with Jackson County. And if the first 2 ambulances get busy, we have that resource as well. It doesn't cost Jackson County anything. So that's come in handy. We've also, if the units go out, we have communications on, not over the radio, but like we have interdepartmental communications. And if our first unit goes out, that's fine, we have the second unit. If the second unit goes out, then we communicate in that system, and we either have that third truck, we either staff a third truck with personnel locally that work with us, or we staff it with a Tex unit. We'll pull one from Topeka and have it staged in Jackson County, or we already have one, that unit I was talking about that is out of the Holton station. So there's a lot of backup plans that a lot of people don't see behind the scenes. And then if it gets really, 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 really bad, we do have a interoperability partnership with Tribe, and we cover for them, and they cover for us, and so that all works out well as well.
And on the transfer side of things, never do your first truck, if you have so many transfers, where you're never pulling
Never.
and to go do a
Never.
transfer to where we're left without it.
Never.
Okay.
Not one time has either of the Jackson unit, the tech side, the transfer side, will help cover
Sure.
for 911, but never a Jackson County unit will go
Do it
correct.
and leave.
Correct. Very cool. Also in the packet it looks like this. And what that is we were just awarded, actually, I think it was last month, the 2025 Bronze Award by the American Heart Association for excellent care in cardiac patients, and you have to meet certain criteria. You have to have so many cardiac patients, and then you have to meet the technicians, paramedics, and EMTs have to perform to a certain degree to get this award to happen. Another thing is we were really excited about is we just over a couple months ago, we celebrated our 25th year anniversary. That's a pretty big milestone for us. We're very excited about that. And then a couple more things. The economic impact is worth mentioning too. So we have several other counties that we perform 911 services for. And then even larger than that is our inter-facility side that does that. We also do behavioral health transfers for patients with mental illnesses. So we operate those out of here. We have a dispatch center out of here. We do billing out of here, all centrally here for all the other counties and everything else we do across the state of Kansas. So we're really proud to call Jackson County our home. And then the other thing was community support. I mean, you guys already know this, but we do a ton of standbys, parades. We actually just did a drive for the food pantry, and we had all the other departments involved from other counties. Guess who took first place? Jackson County.
There you go.
So. All right. Yeah, if we want to go into executive session, and then hopefully I can answer any questions you guys have.
I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of contract negotiations, financials, and proprietary information.
Yep,
Correct?
financial information and contract negotiations too with, who's to be invited.
Commission, clerk, and of course you,
Okay.
and Brent.
How long?
Let's go, let's go 15 minutes to start off with.
Second.
It's probably moved and seconded to go into executive session with the above mentioned people for 15 minutes for the purpose of contract negotiations for financial and proprietary information. Got to get all this right. I do appreciate you coming in.
Is there anything else?
No, I can't think of anything.
I don't think so.
No? Okay, I'm good.
All
All
right.
right, Brent, thank you
guys.
very much.
Thank you.
Like I said, I do appreciate you. Absolutely. How's Bree doing? I haven't seen her.
We appreciate taking care of this county. She's doing good.
Good. I see her pictures online. Tell her I said hi.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Steve.
Yep, see you. Just this, you know what?
Okay.
Okay, would you like to hear your nice phone call?
Yes.
I got something positive. I woke up this morning saying this is going to be a positive.
It's gonna be a great week.
You have one new message, main menu. To listen to your messages, press 1. Final message 1. Received at 9:27 a.m. July 3rd. Yes, this message is from Keith Kelly. This is Vicki McGee. We live at 11416T Road, just a mile east of Coit. And I wanted to tell you how pleased I am that you're grading our roads. I don't know how often you're doing it, but I don't think you're putting any more rock on it, but you're grading it more often than you have before. And it's making it a lot better when we're getting these rains, and Mike and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good.
So instead of cutting their budgets, we wouldn't be able to cut their budgets, it would be staying within their budgets throughout the year. My conviction, know really well. You probably saw Mike, if you ever went in Roy Fry's Western Wear. He was the retail staff there. He knew his Western Wear very good, especially boots and hats. Out of shape.
So did you ask a question?
I just see
Todd, what do you have for us today?
Well, I think we covered everything, unless you guys have anything that's on your mind. So we got the resolution out of the way. They saw the judgment in the federal case, so do you have any questions about that, or it's not my bailiwick, but I can answer.
I read through it, and I think it sounded pretty good to me for my
And so
non-legal.
at this point, without prejudice means,
Well, yeah, without prejudice means that they could refile a case, technically.
but at this point, they threw it out and said,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
so
the thing you
what-
have to understand is they can appeal the dismissal. If they have,
Of course.
you know, if they put their best foot forward on the first go-around, which arguably they did, then they would go to the 10th Circuit to appeal it, which would be the normal course to do that. And that's, I mean, just so you understand, for attorneys, the conventional wisdom is the judges will almost never dismiss a case if there's even a chance that it might succeed and come back. I mean, the worst thing you can do as a judge is say, you're dismissing the case, goes in the appeals court, sends it back and says, you shouldn't have dismissed it. Because if that's the case, you might as well just go through the process
So
of
for them
trial.
to dismiss it at this level speaks volumes about how frivolous it was.
Well, I think that it shows that the judge is solidly in the camp of, it was not, they don't have standing, it wasn't properly brought.
Right.
And,
That was my take on it.
yeah, and she pretty much said that it was, you know, that you guys, at least as far as the county charges go, you guys weren't required to do, what they said you had to do, which was, you know, environmental review under that statute.
Right.
And she said it also because they had alleged that the federal government should have had to do that, but she rejected that as well. So, I mean, there was kind of two levels to it, and both of them got shut down, so you could, you know, easily see that that's, she felt comfortable in both of the elements that it wouldn't come back to her.
Right.
And so, you know, I don't know if they appeal or not, maybe they play it out, but that's pretty,
And I think it's to our benefit to get the cost. I think it's important, I believe it's important for the taxpayers to know when these kind of cases are brought, that shouldn't be, that the taxpayers know how much it's costing them. People can sue for anything they want, so we'll try to get those numbers together, what it's cost the county taxpayer to defend this.
So, and that was one question I was going to ask. So can we get reimbursed for legal fees?
Not at current. You probably have to talk to Mr. Cooper about that.
Okay,
I mean,
Okay, because the city of Rossville is one of the people who are one of the plaintiffs, right?
Duke did the signing, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, can we go after the city of Rossville?
We'll talk to Mr. Cooper on that, other guys.
Well,
That's a good point.
The normal procedure is that if there's a separate tracks on that goes to the meeting, the merits are decided or determined on this level, right? That doesn't involve fee shifting. Maybe the argument is that you can get costs, but at this point the costs are pretty low because you really, they pay the filing fee, you guys didn't pay filing fee to the thing. You know, that costs are things that are paid before, not to the attorneys. So if you want an attorney's fee award, you have to, basically at this point, you have to sue them. Well, you have to have a motion on file that said that they violated Rule 11, which is that the pleading was frivolous and was known, you know, basically intended to be, you know, wrongful. I mean, they knew full well that they weren't saying something. So that, my understanding, I haven't looked at the document, that motion was not made. So I would expect whether or not, you know, I think you guys, if there was a separate case filed, I mean, if they just abandoned the appeal and they said there was some other way that we were going to plead this magically to address this, then I think that would probably be where that would be sued. And I don't, unfortunately, that's just a procedure, so
Yeah.
Dave can say what he thinks about that likelihood or not, but the idea that, well, we say it's frivolous, that's not, I don't think that was terminology that the judge used, in my recollection, or at least
It wasn't.
It just didn't go up to that level. And, you know, she wasn't asked to do it in some respects. So, yeah, it's just somewhat unfortunate, and probably should be noted that there was another public entity that joined in without, I mean, to my understanding, I don't know if you guys know that they talked to you, the city council or mayor or city attorney didn't come. He just didn't say, well, we want something to you guys first, right?
Right.
I think I got called by Stan Euler at one point just to say what we're, about what we're doing. And there was never a request to say, but that's, I mean, that's something that they could have done and they didn't.
Good.
Before they joined in. And I know that they have concerns, but that doesn't change the fact that the process was in no position to be placed on you guys, because you hadn't completed it.
All right. I don't have anything else to talk to you.
All right. Gotta go clean up all the fireworks.
Can you pass that, thank you? These are just the financials for the half the year.
For the half of the year? Okay.
sales tax question on it. I don't remember that. Why was that?
She's told me, and I explained to her what she needs to be done, and she must have it to me by September 2nd. So she's supposed to have it in 2020.
Working on the question?
Ballot language, that's the main thing,
Yeah.
because you guys don't, they shouldn't have to write it.
No. I didn't.
No.
Oh, Francis called me back last week. So he's got the ball rolling on the
1.4%.
On the 4%, okay.
Can we
Yeah,
increase that to 5? I mean, one tenth of a
Bobby, listen.
Increase what?
the 0.04% sales tax, can we increase that to 5?
That you guys have?
Yeah,
Is that permanent or is that a 10-year?
sunsets in 27, or 26.
Well, I mean, I don't think you can, I mean, you could probably vote to have .1 or whatever to get it to 5.
So in doing a new one,
Yeah.
we could call it a 0.5.
Yeah, as long as you're not, I mean, I guess I don't know that you have any other specials. I think there's a 1% limit on
Oh,
designated.
we have one for the elderly
that's
center.
just 1 mil, it's not a 1%.
Yeah, it's a
just
1
1
mil.
I'm trying to remember what that
That's it.
limitation is for,
I just wondered if we could increase that to offset some of the gravel costs, because that's what this is, the entire amount is for purchasing gravel. And if we're not getting ad valorem taxes to pay for it, maybe we increase the sales tax a little bit to offset that, because everybody has to buy stuff.
just, I don't know that is much of I don't think you can do it without a vote.
Right. This would be on the new one, so
Yeah,
in
the new one you could do,
27,
yeah.
we could go to, instead of 4, it would be 5.
Well,
Well,
we
that's
have,
the
we have to talk
statutory
to Francis
limitations.
about that to get that changed, so.
Yeah, do you mind emailing me back and saying that we'd like to,
Explore the
Request it.
possibility going to 5?
yeah, 5 instead of the 4?
Who are you talking to there?
Prince Allergy.
I'm listening, I'm just thinking.
Well, I'm saying, you gotta figure out the limitation. Where it goes.
Yeah.
Because that's where that, and I think it's separate for, general sales tax and specific sunset thing.
Okay.
This is very specific.
All right.
Thanks, Todd.
You bet. See you guys.
See you, buddy, thank you.
Is Lisa Hyman still doing those one grants? I mean, all those are made.
Yes, but I did get an email from Janelle on one of them, but we won't get any more money until someone goes in there. So that was on Jag.
And is it early?
Yeah.
Lisa Lester.
So that's the whole.
Trying to conserve papers and how much.
Why is Randy Poole still on here? That's,
Man, that's old.
I don't even know what he's
do you know
doing.
anybody that works from this stage? You can, who you talk to and get
I
their.
suppose. I might do that. Good grief. But how many cents?
Okay, Christie. Under elections, what is Elvis annual SOS?
That is my, Elvis is our voting system.
Okay.
Elvis is not
Elvis
dead.
is in the building.
He's still alive. And SO is the Secretary of State, so that's my mindset going through to the Secretary of State.
I just saw Elvis. Okay. Are you
Which
guys
stands
slipping off for
Which
us?
stands for what election? What is the whole long thing for?
It's an acronym for
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Elvis is in.
Kristen, do you have the ability to tell how much interest we've earned this year? To see if we're on track?
Idle funds?
Yeah, on idle funds, I'm sorry. To see if we're on track for what we actually budgeted for.
Well, let's see what my computer is going to let me do today.
Okay.
We're actually sitting at 292,486.
And we budgeted,
450.
so we're doing better than we thought.
Yeah, 65% in so far.
291.
292,486.
Thank you.
Maybe she's got some more she can put in for not spending as much.
She's still trying to control.
Is she, okay, she asked me to come up there, so that's probably why.
Order me.
Oh, okay.
All right, Keith, I got a question for you. You've been here longer. On the rock, what is the difference between the inch and a quarter road rock product V457 and the inch and a quarter road rock NV457? The top one and the bottom,
So,
or top one and the DE 457.
yeah, one has more fines in it.
Because the price on the,
We require a certain amount or percentage of fines with this gravel, and it can't go over that.
which one do we use?
I believe we're at the top one.
I was gonna say the DE 457 that's got the asterisk by it actually dropped in price $1.15 compared to everything else.
Yeah, it's $14.70 a ton.
No, the one right above there.
1950.
There's
Oh, yeah, I did.
There's 3 road rocks.
There's 3 road rock, the one with the asterisk by it, the DE 457, inch and a quarter road rock, 1950 is the new price, and the old price was $20.65, so it dropped $1.15 a ton.
I can't answer you why I did.
I wonder if Scott would know the difference between all of them. Yeah, I guess we have an expert here who could,
That-
Possibly
it's-
find that
it's
out.
good- It's a good question, though.
I mean,
The only other explanation could be that
If he has those two crossed out on the blade, does that matter?
yeah.
It's kind of weird that one dropped anyway.
yeah,
Is the one,
I'll take advantage of that. Let me call Scott, see if he knows the answer to that.
is that just what the county's paying?
I don't know. And Christie's right, it's those two bottom ones are crossed out on the old
Yeah.
side, so. Actually, let me call Scott, see if he can answer that question. Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got you on speaker here with everybody. On the rock that you sent us, what can, on your old page, you have crossed out the two bottom ones.
That's something that Jennifer had done.
Oh, they cross them out?
Yeah.
Okay. I hear you, I'm stupid, so I'm just trying to figure out, they've got 3 different inch and a quarter road rocks listed. And he said he thought it had to do with the fines in it, with the product number on the side of it. But the one, the DE 457 inch and a quarter road rock that has an asterisk by it, actually dropped in price.
I'm on the road. I don't have that in front of me at the moment.
Okay? If you could look at that and kind of give me an idea what the difference is between all 3 of those road rocks and give me a holler back whenever you get a chance, I would appreciate it. Like I say, I'm trying to figure out what the difference is and why one would drop and everything else went up.
Okay. I will look at it.
All right, sounds good, buddy. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Adam Cybers got back to me, he's working on the 4%.
Yeah.
He says, I'm looking over KSA 12-187, what authority is Jackson County levying the sales tax under? Is it the general sales tax authority? Which I'm assuming.
Whatever it was before.
Does all revenue go towards the gravel, or does the revenue get split according to the distribution formula the cities in?
It all goes to the gravel.
Yes.
It goes to road.
Just want to make sure I was
Purchase gravel.
relying on
But now the cities get part of that too.
No, not on that one. I don't believe they get any of that.
I think.
Because it's-
that comes here.
Because it's a,
We get the 4%, but then it goes to Road and Bridge and then it goes to the cities.
Oh, yeah. It does.
Yes, it does. It
Split
goes to the
out,
cities.
okay, then we need to have a conversation about that. Because, so, the 0.25%, that the hospital wants, because it's all going to that, none of it goes to the cities.
No.
So I guess my question is, we need to reword this so that we're getting
The full
all
4%.
Yeah, the full 4%, because I'm not gonna go to bat and take all the heat for creating a sales tax just so the cities can all get a little piece of it. If they want their own sales tax, let them get their own sales tax.
Except I think it would need a smoother way for it to get passed, because.
Well,
it's for-
it may be, but
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and so maybe some of this is information that we get out to the public, that they have a choice whether to pay higher personal property taxes
Right.
or allow everybody who ramps and doesn't pay for personal property taxes to have an opportunity to be part of that.
Well, you know, we got ripped because people are paying county taxes and they live in the city, and when we ask them the question, do you ever drive on county roads? Oh, no, I never do.
Don't have to.
Well, then if the city, so some of the city folk are driving in the city, they're using sales tax for that.
Does that make sense, Christie? What I'm asking is
Yeah.
how do we word this so that it is designated for gravel only?
Only and not to the city, because it does. The city's.
Yeah, because
That's what the public thinks, and then the cities get to use it for whatever they want.
There's a way that you can word that or to put that in, because that was being discussed, if you remember correctly, that was discussed at the last convention. And one of the breakouts is that the sales taxes that we put on, they want it strictly for the county, and there was a way that you could word it or designate it that it would go strictly to the county, not to the cities.
Yeah, and I think I said through that. And I thought the way it was, if you just asked for sales tax for the general fund,
Right.
then the counties were entitled to a part of it. But when you designate it for a specific thing, and that's all it's gonna be used for, I mean, how do the cities get to use it for something if we're designating it for a
For
specific
gravel,
thing?
yes, not putting it into the general fund.
And most of the cities don't buy gravel.
Right.
I mean, if they do, it's very little. So that's my question to their legal staff down there.
Right, the same way the hospital was able to do it. I mean,
The hospital's able to do it because it's for medical and I wonder too, if we can't use some of that for ambulance at some point or do that to offset some of the ambulance. I know everybody who has a business is gonna complain because now we have to stay under what the city of Topeka is in sales tax if we want to stay competitive with our retail. I get that.
Yeah. All right, let's see, we got a couple of payroll change notices here for the sheriff's department. And these are new hires, the one's a promotion, was that in the budget?
I'm sorry.
Was that in the budget, the promotion?
Let me ask.
Just to make sure.
Who's that on?
This one.
Hey, Stephen Pereira, was that?
I think Mary would let that go through.
She told me to always ask, so I've always asked, haven't I?
That was probably good then.
This new hire, I'm sure it's going to be open position, so I'm involved with that.
I have something I want you to
Okay,
read
thank you.
before we
Just gonna call and make sure
are done
in case
today.
I'm missing
It's
somebody.
some information that I'm sending
Sean's not
to
coming back.
Craig Bowser about
Okay, well, this one I think is replacing, this one is a
I'll
promotion.
be associated.
That was, I think this is the
Send
open.
it to that.
And so you think this one might be an
All
old
that kind of stuff.
replacing?
I think there's one
Okay.
piece missing.
I'll let that one sit. I'll
Just
just
brought
on
it
this
up
one.
one time
She's gonna try to get a
about the
hold
auto
All right,
tax.
sounds good.
I mean, how many tags are
Like I
issued?
said, Gary told me to ask
Driving on our
And
county
you're
roads.
gonna
Ask everybody.
We get no revenue from that, and if we can put a number to that, how many tags are, non-county, non-state tags of residents who live here permanently and drive on county roads and we're not getting funding for, I'd like to add that as a cost.
It's about how we get that number.
How do you get that number?
Yeah.
I think you could go back and look at trends. So we'd have to go back and look at when prairie van tags started being issued and how many vehicle registrations we had then versus the following year and the years after that. Or I can just share with him that we're losing a percentage.
That might be the best way, but I don't know when they started issuing.
They don't pay any property tax or on those vehicles.
Yeah, we have to share some of that with the state, don't we? Direct vehicle registration?
Yeah, we do, but like I say.
Well, that's what I say, we do,
The
so.
ones on the reservation, if they tag their vehicle down there.
Yeah, then they don't start sharing anything with the state either, so then they get. Has everybody read their minutes for June 30th?
Yeah.
Okay, is there any corrections?
Yes.
Christie was made aware of them?
Yes.
Okay, I would accept a motion to accept the minutes of June 30th, 2025 with corrections.
So moved.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to accept the minutes of June 30th, 2025 with corrections. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And we're waiting on a reply from the sheriff's office for this other payroll change, just to make sure that it is in the budget.
Yeah, we budgeted $9,000 for uniforms for road and bridge for 3 individuals.
Yeah.
I think you give them each $1,000 stipend annually and call it good.
Yep.
I mean, actually, it needs to be that much, but $500 buys a lot of jeans.
And two of them will have jeans for a while.
Right.
I just cannot believe that they said, well, you will, so you have to have art flash clothing.
It's good sales tactic.
Oh, yeah. The wheels is turning, what do you
Is
think?
there a difference between arc flash and fire retardant?
No.
Okay. Okay. I've never heard of it called arc flash. I've heard of it
Yeah.
called fire retardant.
No, I had to wear them down one. Pants and the shirts, just like I'm sure your son does.
Yeah. He's required, he can't leave the building if he doesn't have it on.
Yep.
Okay, I'll tell them it's not in the budget. All right, thanks. No, it's not been budgeted for.
It's not been budgeted for.
No, she budgeted 27, whatever they were at to start with, so the promotion was not
And
budgeted.
you deny that one?
So, yeah, we're gonna have to, says the full-time law enforcement community cycle.
Did they have an
So-
open position?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because it
Well,
said from
they had-
deputy to patrol sergeant.
I think he gave him a promotion, but I don't think there was an open position for that.
Okay.
I think he just added them to, that's my understanding from there.
All right. General consensus. I mean, if it's not budgeted for, I don't see how we can do it. Can we?
He's gonna do it anyway, but
I mean, I can note that you guys denied it, but he's a elected official, so we can.
Yeah, you can do it, but I mean, like I said, if it is not budgeted, if it was not budgeted for, then how are we gonna come, how are we gonna come, cash to do it?
I mean, we've denied other offices for promotions
Yeah.
that weren't budgeted. Krista, do you have a current 2025 the holiday schedule? Thank you. And I appreciate this. This is great. I can look through each one, see what the income is, finally starting to get us trained.
And I've gone through the budget and we're pretty close, pretty much dead on where we were at, so.
The only place that I see if he needs a bucket, tooth bucket, that he can take it from, would be from Greater Blades. There's $7,500 in there, and I would consider that to be a blade. But I would still recommend that he looks for a used one rather than,
Yeah, or an aftermarket
yeah,
company, a lot
Yeah.
of times.
yeah. No wonder if the bucket he's got now, the teeth aren't replacing it.
If what?
If the teeth are not replaceable on the bucket that he has now.
It wasn't the teeth, it was the bottom side of the bucket.
Oh, I thought he said it was wearing into the teeth. Or the
Right.
bottom side of the bucket's wearing into the teeth.
Right, so he's losing material on the bottom side of it, and it's actually wearing up into, a lot of times, you don't wear the teeth out, you wear the bottom of the
Does that
bucket.
not have a replaceable blade on it?
I couldn't tell you,
Fair enough.
most tooth buckets, my Bobcat tooth bucket does not, I mean, you cut them out.
It's a weldable
Yeah.
blade, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what we used to do on the turnpike was you could just literally cut the whole bottom out, you would support it. You come up on the top side, run a piece of 1-inch square tubing, you crossed it, you weld it, then you go in and cut it out so it didn't pop out. Take a piece of steel, weld a new one in, weld a new cutting edge on.
That's what, yeah, that's, there you go, the cutting edge, that's what we're talking about here.
We used to.
That's kind of a common.
They still do that with dump trucks that rust out.
Yeah.
The guys that are skilled welders that go in and cut those sides out and replace them. I mean, I would ask, the enemy guy,
What's?
Wes, thank you. If you feel comfortable welding something like that, I didn't know it.
I don't, you know, like I said, I'm a little puzzled, they just don't grind it out, put a new cutting blade on it, put some teeth on there and get it.
Okay. And sometimes, so like on the bottoms of the buckets, especially on asphalt, you would run beads
Uh-huh.
up and down, half-inch part, inch
Uh-huh.
part, wear beads,
Mhm.
is what I call it. And we did that on everything that was a wearable item, you go in and weld those on.
Yeah.
That's a good question, we can ask Scott. if he
Let's
just-
ask him
see
next
about
week
just
if that
repairing
could
it.
be, if it should be ground out, replaced, and weld new teeth on, same time, going down the road.
Take the plasma cutter and cut it out.
Yeah.
A little better.
Yeah.
Okay. This appears to be a sales tax levy under the county general sales tax authority, which can go up 1%. I would need to check with KDOR to confirm since they keep track of sales tax levies. Assuming this is correct, you would need statutory authorization to switch from using county general authority to a specific dedicated sales tax, thus eliminating the distribution of the proceeds of the county will retain all funds.
Thank you. I think,
Was this
for
what-
me, that's what I would like to
Yes.
pursue.
Yeah, I thought that's where that addition was.
Thoughts, Linda?
Cities, it would be fine with me. I mean,
I
the
mean-
more you go to road and bridge to rock, the better.
Right. I mean, especially since we reduced it by 300,000.
That's true.
Yeah, I think, I didn't realize that that's what it was, honestly.
Cities
I
give
thought
a
it all
check
went
every
to-
month.
I thought all went to road and bridge or grab or county or grab.
No.
Are we going to do anything for the parade? That's what I was gonna ask too.
I'm not planning on it.
Okay. Linda? Okay.
That's next week already.
Yeah.
I know. I had 50-some days to get the wedding ready.
See, I'm like, in,
Days, he needs one.
She keeps throwing new stuff at me.
so the city's like actually for June got $114,000, 181. That's split out to all the cities.
It's huge amounts
So if it wouldn't get split out, the county would keep that.
Okay.
So
in a
another-
month.
Another hundred,
In one
in
month.
1 month, right, so it's like another $100,000 the county would give
Yeah.
if you did it that way. It was just done that way from the beginning,
Yeah.
it never changed.
I didn't realize that. Well, wasn't there something else on there too
Yeah, it was, when the very beginning, it was
for economic development?
economic development,
Okay.
yes. Right.
So we have to have them revamp the question.
Right.
Did you happen to see any complaints about the courthouse being closed on third? Okay, I'd like to visit about that sometime.
And so was that because of not close on Juneteenth, or, I mean, when I saw the paper, I first thought it was here, and then I read on and I thought, no, it's not, it's supposed to be there.
And I went back and read the minutes. We did it in September, we approved it, I believe is when it was. And I take responsibility as being a commissioner at that time, but that I overlooked it. We don't offer Juneteenth, so why replace it with something else?
Yeah, I thought maybe that's why it was done, I didn't know.
We, in our handbook, we offer 10 days of holiday. And I think, at least for me as a commissioner, and we visit this fall, that's gonna probably be closer to the 10 than it is to the 15 that we're getting now. That's just gonna be my suggestion, you guys can do whatever you want, but, I mean, in Thursday, we're giving Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. I mean, I get it, but boy, I'm telling you, the settlement and a lot of people are not happy about this kind of stuff.
I didn't hear anything at all about it. I mean, from anyone. So, I'll just.
I just read it on the internet, but,
Yeah.
nobody said it.
Yeah, I'm just curious where you guys are at on it.
I'd have to look over the holiday list and see, yeah.
I mean, I did wonder why we closed on July 3rd, because it's a Thursday, and Friday was the 4th, usually we just get the holiday for the 4th of July. I didn't know if there was a discussion or reasoning for it.
I don't remember anything.
I don't
that we-
remember
We
anything.
talked about it, I think that last year that it was on Thursday, and we,
The only thing I remember is Dan was an advocate for Juneteenth. He thought we should be taking that, so I don't know if it stemmed around something or that, I
That was
don't
one thing I
remember.
wondered, maybe
But-
it went around that.
I'll be taking a closer look and having some recommendations for this fall. Again, we give
like I say, I think we did it last year because the 4th fell on Thursday. And we gave Friday off, we probably just didn't change it, so that's probably, I mean, that's probably, yeah, I mean,
But, I mean, we're still we give a discretionary day to each employee. That's not in the handbook.
and I think the discretionary day, didn't we have discussion on that? Didn't we have discussion on that, that was they gave the discretionary day because of the not giving pay raises for X amount of years?
So why are we still doing that?
Yeah, so I mean, that's one of my things we could just, I think we need to probably look at hard on that one.
Except we're not gonna get pay raises, so,
No, this is, they didn't get pay raises for several years.
Oh, I know, we didn't,
Yeah, I know, and so you were
Right.
part of it, so,
Right.
so that's why you got the discretionary day. We've
Right.
given to where we're back up to
Good
paying
wages.
a comparable wage
right.
to everybody else now, so we're gonna have to look at that.
Yeah. So I'd like to have a
Yep,
discussion on that at some point.
that's a ways away.
I'm just curious, did anybody else in the building go, well, that's odd? Or did everybody just, no, nobody raised a question why we were doing it? I'm just curious.
I mean,
I heard,
Not very.
I just wanted to stop in, I don't know if Scott told you yet or not, but, he asked me about when possibly I might be able to go to the appraiser's office. And Jennifer's on vacation right now. I'm getting ready to go on vacation. So the last week of July, I would like to be out there so I can get things straightened up. So maybe August 1st, a day or so a week.
Okay.
If that's,
have you touched base with, Kate to talk to her? And-
yeah, I just stopped up there
Okay,
and
perfect.
I had stopped last week, and kind of looked at what they were wanting me to do. And
Cool.
Great.
And to me,
Sure.
it just adds value to you, because being able to utilize you in a different place, I mean, to me is a compliment, and it adds value to your skill set, and so, but I would like, I guess, I would like Scott to verify everything with Jennifer to make sure that she's comfortable with all that and
yeah,
kind of lay it
yeah.
out.
And we had been talking about it, and she's still working on 2024
Yeah.
inventory
And I,
to try to get her annual reports and
Yeah.
stuff.
And I
done,
told it under, I
And, you know,
assumed you
Jennifer
knew
comes
that
back
we didn't
with
want to pull you out
talk.
until things were ready.
so-
Yep.
Sure, but I stopped and told Kate, and so Kate, will at least be able to have time to get things set up.
Yeah, develop a little bit of a
and
plan for you.
Get ready for
Cool.
but you should be familiar with that stuff.
Actually, I'm not. I've never done the Eagle thing. I've done the GIS.
Yeah,
But
But not that. But I mean, it looks, from what I saw.
that's what we thought.
Yeah.
Like I said, it just adds value to you.
There you go. Thanks, Barry.
Oh, I will.
I was gonna walk right on by, but I saw one of my inmates sitting there.
that's right.
You got a runner! You got a runner!
You're hilarious.
Good quietest 4th of July I've had in 10 years as a judge.
Really?
No foolishness,
On your part, you mean?
yeah. Nobody blowing their hands off that I'm aware of.
Let me see. Got all 10 fingers?
Now, 2 weeks before that, people were off the chain, but
Yeah.
I said, this is the first year in 60 years that we're running fireworks.
I could care less about fireworks. I had millions of dollars in a few hours.
There you go.
See that hill, make it disappear now.
There you go.
You're funny.
So Judge Elder and America gonna be here at 1:30?
I thought just Elder.
Just Elder, as far as I
Just Elder,
know.
as far as I know.
Well, he's probably gonna ask for a big raise for the magistrates.
I am assuming that, I was assuming that.
If he doesn't mention it, you can bring it up.
Just that halo aura, I could see you coming before you ever got here.
Maybe Potawatomi County can pay that.
They don't pay for anything. I had to buy my own toilet brush.
You poor thing.
Yeah, I know. I used to be somebody.
You just-
I used to make a phone call, my helicopter would land outside of my office, and I'd fly to Wichita for lunch. Now I'm buying my own toilet brush.
My, how times have changed, right?
I know.
Moving up in the world.
Anyway, I get to be a judge.
See you later.
So, there's some line outs that we were thinking about changing and some stuff, but just read it and see what it says.
I was sitting there waiting all day.
See something's going to occur. Either that or remember the person, Joe.
That's possible. Around here, roll that. That sounds good.
Okay, and then I'll add in some information about the, auto tag, the tags. Okay, all right. He was wanting information about that, so we can start building some around for us. I was surprised he knew. I was Senator Congressman, who sat on key committees. Karen Tyson is one. I go, don't mention my name, she doesn't like me.
Well, I think it's pretty simple.
And I said, if you do mention Karen, Karen, tell her that I said, we're, going to try to get rid of people this year.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sure the city of Holton is one of the largest recipients of that, 0.4%. Next up.
I just can't believe that. Well, it's not involved me. I'm not involved. Since it was this specific. Yeah.
Do you have a copy of that? That, what I showed you?
No.
I'm gonna rewrite it, I'll email it to Christie and then she can get it to everybody.
Sounds good.
There were some changes that Heartland wanted to make in it. So I'll rewrite it and I'll get it to her.
I have questions, I don't understand the dust control. Okay, so what you had tested was,
Within spec.
okay,
So-
what was it you tested?
The chemical itself, calcium chloride, wanted to make sure that it had the correct amount of the chemical that it was supposed to.
I mean, at the lake, it's so nice going back to that back area, there's no dust blowing like it used to.
It is nice, and I'm just a firm believer that on those roads that we're using it on, we don't put anywhere near the gravel.
Nope.
Um,
In the fall, like after our Q54, that's when I'm most familiar with, because it's when I drive all the time. It does need to, this fall, be reshaped because there's,
Sure.
too much on the side, so we need to go back in and get pushed back in the middle, re-ground, and ready for winter. Unless we do it in the spring, but then winter it sits with water on it all winter.
And I wonder, I've asked some of our blade operators if, in situations like that, if taking a roller out there and wetting it, so bring that back in, wet it, and roll it. And they said, okay, so why not take the time to do
Yeah.
You're like talking two additional personnel to the blade operator. I know down in the Boyd area, the rural water district will put a metered valve on the water towers. They can fill anytime they want. They have plenty of, and it's cheap water, it doesn't cost hardly anything.
Well, they do it right now, there's a meter right down the corner, you can afford it.
Right. So why not scarify that and bring that back in, shape it, wet it, roll it. There's more, because there's a lot of that chemical in that out here. As you can see, it's just one.
Oh, yeah.
We need to suggest that we do that on some of these, to fill the wheel tracks.
Yeah.
But the key is letting it roll.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We still have a rubber tire. Rubber tire roller.
I don't know.
You know, they make a roller that goes on the back of a motor grader.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well,
You can take the
look
lift
into
group
that
off.
anyway, because, I've said to you many times that the way that we patch asphalt, just dump it out and spread it with the blade and then run over it several times while it's good, is not good. It's not the way to do it. I mean, if you got a pothole to fill it, you go out on the edges, take your rake, feather it out on the edges. The key there is too, which I don't know if we do, is putting in tackle. I don't know if we use tackle. And if we don't use tackle, you're not going to get stick anyway. Schedule one.
And if we're not doing in 25 as many complete rebuilds because of the gravel budget, why not wet and roll?
Yep.
I mean,
I agree.
even on roads that maybe have new gravel on them that don't have dust control. Because those guys have told me that when you wet and roll even new rock, it just holds better.
Yeah.
Spend a little time doing some of that. Have we ever considered subbing that work out, the maintaining the roads? Have you ever thought about that? I'm gonna bring that up.
Never thought about that. I don't know how much, what would be a bill, I think. I don't know.
We wouldn't have 11 employee benefits, we wouldn't have cost of equipment. I don't know if any counties that do that.
I don't know.
You found that amount that the cities were getting for this report, or you have a different?
So I asked, I just like this because this, so, you have it broken out more than what this does. Let's see, here's 4% sales tax, so, like, road and bridge, this, here shows the cities, I know that this was revenue, and then she wrote those checks.
Yeah.
She wrote those checks right after.
114, okay.
I go up there, I'll bring down a sheet that shows how much each city got.
Where'd you see that?
Because I have this sheet.
Okay.
And so, 4% for the cities that came in, the revenue was 114,000. And she wrote the checks right after them. When we get that city money, we got to in and we write the check out the same month. So they look for a check every month.
Interesting. Interesting.
Mr. Hidsink says, I have called the girls at the office. Should have been 2150. It's to me like there's a typo
Oh, and then,
on the rock. I sent him a message and asked why that went down. And he said,
that's what we want.
and he said,
We'll lock her in on that.
he said, send me a picture of what you've got, and so I sent him a picture, and then he said back, he says, I have a call into the girls at the office.
tell them we want to lock in at that rate.
Yeah, tell him if we don't, we're gonna sue the council. I thought, David Cooper was coming today.
No, that's the end of July.
What? 28?
Oh, not till 28.
Didn't we have a mediation?
The 28th.
It is the 28th that we're doing it here?
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have to go down there?
Because his email said something about having lunch in, or I don't know what he said, something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe on some promotion.
I said, we are locking in that rate, he said, I have no doubt.
Maybe he could give you a definition of what those different three-quarter, define the three listings for inch and a quarter road rock.
I asked him the other day why it was all given up, and he had this perfect spiel as to, you know, that it costs more to produce it, and,
They usually work on,
oh yeah,
on the,
he had a wonderful little speech.
yeah.
It was, I'm sure he'd given it before.
Okay, can you remind me again? We've got a purchasing department for supplies, so we budgeted $19,210. But then down under custodial, we also have supplies. Which supplies are we talking? What is that?
The one in general is for all the offices.
Okay.
Is your other one say the sheriff's supplies?
No, this is the one, it's Pat's.
That's gonna be like toilet paper, paper towels for all the buildings.
Okay. And then the supplies is for the whole building.
And we share, I mean, everybody gets supplies out of them. But I
Okay,
get
so that's the stationary supplies?
Yeah,
Like
Okay.
paper and all that.
Okay,
I cut that for next year, in 15.
okay. If maybe we can change the name of that to stationary supplies, that would help me a lot. Maybe like a basket cracker or something like that, that would that work?
I could put anything you want.
All right. Just put Christmas vacation, that'll remind you.
Okay, just so you know, Stephen, for real, they denied. He's gonna do it. They're just delaying it on Thursday. Yeah, just keep what you know. Right. Thanks, bye. So do you want to call Tim and have the conversation with him about denying that one, or do you want me to?
I don't care. I think,
I don't care, Mary's doing paperless,
Oh.
but I'm sure it's probably gonna go through anyway.
Yeah, might not be a bad idea to at least give Tim a heads up. And then he can make a decision.
hey Jim, what's going on, buddy? We had a payroll change for a Steve Gerhardt. And according to Mary in payroll, she said that is not in the budget for that promotion. Mary said that is not in the budget, that's all I know. It was an open position? Okay,
That's what John
okay. Okay, well, okay, so you're telling me there was an open position for a patrol sergeant? Okay, let me talk to Mary and see what she says, because, like I said, she said that it was not in the budget, but if there was an open position, that's what I was asking, if there was an open position, so. Okay. Okay, yeah, sure, no, I see it's a promotion, so. Right. Okay, yeah, let me call back up and talk to Mary and see what's going on, okay? Okay, sounds good. Oh, what you got? Oh, okay. No, I don't think so. Everything else going pretty good. How about you? One of those weeks already? Oh, really? More? Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. All right, let me call back up and talk to Mary, and I'll either give you a holler or text you what's going on, okay? Okay. Let me get to the bottom of it, and I'll give you a holler back or text you one to the other and let you know what's going on, okay? All right, thanks, Tim, appreciate it, bye-bye.
Okay, he has an open position, but it's only budgeted at $26.31 an hour.
That's budgeted as what?
$26.31 an hour.
What do patrol
Is that
sergeants?
patrol?
Patrol sergeant,
Well, Travis Davis is at $31.19.
that's what this one is.
That was what was budgeted for him. But for the open position, the budgeted amount was $26.31.
For the patrol sergeant.
open position.
He said, well, he said he had no position for a patrol sergeant that's been open for like 6 months. He's only got 3 patrol sergeants, and that's what this one was promoted to, was from deputy to patrol sergeant.
Well, I don't have Mr. Herrera listed. I have all of the patrol staff listed, and I have open positions.
Okay, he was a just straight deputy, so I'm assuming that's just deputy on patrol. I would guess.
Let me see if maybe he came from correction. I'll have payroll down here.
Well, just have Mary look into it. Like I said, he said he's supposed to have 4 patrol sergeants, and he's only had 3, not covered in shift, 1 shift is not covered.
Just for, Jen says he's supposed to have a position for patrol sergeant. That's what I figured. So he needs to get with you on his payroll budget. Well, I'm looking, we've got it for 2631. Now, the one I'm looking at for the budget information 2025 patrol, if you go to the bottom, there's an open position for 2631. Right, because I don't find Mr. Herrera on anything. Right. You got one of each of those, right? So we've got 2 open positions. Yeah, he's gonna have to come sit down for work with us. We're gonna have to do the budget. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Yes.
Or John will have to come up and sit down with Mary and go through, because she doesn't show any open positions for that,
Okay.
because no one's communicated that with us. Therefore, we're gonna have to redo the budget, because our estimate's gonna be right.
Okay.
So if it's open, somebody left then, or?
Mary had an open position for 25, she had an open position for patrol. For 26, she only has 2 open positions for corrections. She had 3 for 25. So they filled 1 for corrections, but they still had 2. And they just filled the dispatch. They just took it out of there. So I need him or John to come up and sit down and tell us what they have and what they don't have.
Okay, so let me message you and tell him him or John needs to come up and get with Mary.
Mary Ann Christie.
What's that?
Mary Ann Christie.
All right.
Yeah, she only had him budgeted at 2745 for 26.
Stephen Kerr, well, that's what he was at, yeah, for, as deputy, right?
Yeah, but see, she didn't budget for him to get
And then you're not showing any open positions for a deputy, or for a patrol sergeant.
That would be 1, 2. They moved him up, that would be the third one, and you said we're supposed to have 4?
Yep.
No, we don't have that information.
Because he made it sound like he had 4 until
Yeah.
a few months ago.
Yeah, so,
Well, she got Scott budgeted in here, but that would now be John.
all right, can you hear John from the courthouse get married? She's not showing any open position for a patrol sergeant. Thanks. So I'll let you have that.
Okay, so Travis DeBarge, what is he? He's a higher paid. He's at $33.95. So maybe that's one they were counting.
I don't know. All right, shall we recess until Mr. Elder's back at what? 1:30, yeah, 1:30? Recess till 1:15?
Sure.
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Good